Hey guys, thank you for joining me on Their Fight Story. I have Matt Lyle and Tommy Rodriguez with us. Matt, how are you doing today?
Excellent, thank you.
Oh,
Can you
and
hear me?
Tommy? Yes. Tommy, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Doing good.
Thank you. Matt, how did
Yes.
you start in the mixed martial arts?
Oh, and the MMA? By accident. What happened was is during all honestly, I've always done kickboxing and Muay Thai and everything like that. And then what happened was is I kind of like there wasn't really much going on at the time, and so I decided to mess around with MMA. Now what happened was is that with the MMA, I found out that I couldn't go in as an amateur because I was already pro. So they kind of like the way it works is you once you're pro, you stay pro regardless of the sport. So that was kind of unfair for me. But I was like, you know what? I never took any fight anyway, so let's just go. So I ended up meeting up with the WK, and they had a fight going in Delaware. Now, what happened was originally, I don't know if you're familiar with the Golden. I don't want to get back into that, but actually, like, there was a big issue with a huge, like, mishap, and somebody scammed, like, a big MMA thing. It was the Diamond World. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was a big ploy, but I don't want to get into the legal issue. But anyway, so make a long story short, I went in there. It was Stellar Fights, I believe, in Delaware. I fought Peter Kim, great fighter. He came in a little bigger than me, but either way, standing up, not a problem. Got me to the floor. He did exactly what we were supposed to do, and he got the win on that one. The second one, I was supposed to fight a couple people. I believe there was a Mitch Raposo, a kid that was up and coming, that was up there also. He was making his debut at the time. I had family issues. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. Then they started saying, "Oh, this, that, and the third." You know how people are; they talk. Then, then all of a sudden, they gave me this guy named Dan Cormier, and they're like, "Yo, this guy's, it's already had like 15, 16 pro fights. He's well known in the New England area." So I was like, "Yo, let's go." If the guy beats me up, he beats me up. What the hell? Let's just go. So we went in there, and standing wise, I mean, he's just a veteran. He knew what he was doing, so he just like went right to the floor. I pulled guard on him. I tried to transition out. He knew. I mean, he got me in something called a Darcy. I ended up learning what that was. I googled it later after I got tapped out with it. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Then after that, I said, you know what? Let me stop doing that. And let me get back to what I do best. And I started training really hard. And then from there, I just went back into Muay Thai.
Nice. Tommy, how did you get
Yes.
involved in this field?
And training mat or just fighting completely?
Well, how did you? Well, basically, I want to know how you guys connected because you won what, the New York City Golden Gloves?
Yes, it was. I got a black belt in Taekwondo back in 1989, and I was doing martial arts, and then I went into boxing, amateur boxing, and I fought the New York State Golden Gloves back in 1989 and also in 91, and I won the gloves in 91, and then I transitioned after that. I became a professional kickboxer, and my kickboxing career was great after that. I was fighting from 1991 all the way to like close to like 97, 98, and I was competing. I was doing both boxing and kickboxing. Around 1997, 90, that's when I met Matt. I used to train in a gym in Staten Island, and I was starting my pro career. And Matt was an amateur. He was the guy that used to follow us in the gym all the time, and he was great. He was great coming up, and we lost connection after that when years went by, and he found me on social media. I was following him, and I found out he was training, and I reached out to him. He reached out to me, and he asked if I could help him out, and I said yes, and we connected again. After all those years, we connected.
Wow. How where were you living and where was he living that you guys were able to reconnect?
I was living in Brooklyn, New York, but I would travel to Staten Island because my brother, he's a retired champion, Orlando Rivera, used to have a gym in Staten Island. It was called America's Finest Kickboxing. We used to train right off the ferry. There was a gym, and Matt used to come over and train in that gym as well with us.
Oh. And Matt, how has the pandemic affected your fight career at the moment?
I think personally, it affected everybody's fight career. Anybody that is an active fighter, it made you really have to dig down and uh, use your imagination. You got to, a lot of times, especially when it got real bad with lockdown, half the people were training inside their homes. You had to come up with things that and going outside and doing what you got to do. So yeah, it really affected a lot. The average promoters in all the areas and weren't really doing any local shows. They weren't able to. And then later, even if they started releasing some of the things, there just wasn't enough people. They weren't allowed people in the stands. So, the local and the regional people, they rely on ticket sales. The pay-per-view really wasn't doing that. I mean, UFC, they got so much money, those big boys, Bellator, stuff like that, they can afford that. Anybody that can go buy an island to keep things going, that's I mean, that's a different ball game, But most people, they don't do that. It's off of ticket sales. And then if you're an outsider, they you have to somehow bring something to the package. So usually what they'll do is they'll bring somebody out, or a promoter's dream is to have two locals fight. So it cuts back on all the things. So yeah, it really was hard on everything. But fortunately, it kind of allowed me to do more of what I was doing and training hard and really getting your mind mentally prepared for what you're doing. Not to mention half the stuff that I do, I beat up on things that aren't really human. So it kind of made it easier for me. People kind of, when you're walking around in public and you're kicking, stop signs, people kind of look at you nuts. But when nobody's out on the street because of the pandemic, I got away with it.
Tommy, how were you able to train with him or coach him during this pandemic?
Oh, and I have a good answer for Matt in reference to the pandemic. I speak to a lot of fighters that retire and know Matt, and Matt hasn't fought in a while. We all know that. He's been very inactive. But I tell you, this pandemic has really helped him out a lot, because during the time that he wasn't fighting, he's been training. So now when this pandemic hit for a whole year, all the fighters that have been active had to pause. So Matt now has caught up and is training now, and it's kind of like he caught up everybody that's been active, so it's put him in better shape. So seeing Matt and training with him, I have noticed that he's gotten stronger. His legs are phenomenal, and his hand speed is good. He has that determination that he wants to fight. So yeah, he hasn't been active, but he's been training nonstop. So all the time that he hasn't been busy, he's just been staying in shape. So this pandemic has put him a little bit ahead to catch up. We kind of lost you.
Yes. Have you had any fights scheduled that have to be rescheduled because of the pandemic? For Matt? Oh.
Matt, for yourself, she's asking.
Oh, there's been a lot. I mean, I was supposed to fight a couple times with Triton Fights. They canceled like two or three times. I had like the ones, like I said, up east I was supposed to fight. I was supposed to fight on Lion Fight with your buddy Scott Kent. I was supposed to fight Kamir #2 there. But unfortunately, there was an issue with that. I kind of got in trouble with the commission. So I mean, I shot my mouth off and I got in trouble. But things happen, it is what it is. But it just, it made me train harder and harder. I've been in this game for a long time. So I mean, even though I haven't been as active as a lot of people, I have 4 kids and I had to work. But I put myself in a position where it's showtime now. And I'm doing things that normal people can't do. You know what I'm saying? I mean business. I mean, I can take my shins and I can kick telephone poles and shake a pole. So during this training session for getting prepared, I put 4 people. I fractured 4 people, and put them in the hospital. So, this 119-pounder is definitely going to change the face of the world. And I was definitely serious when I told everybody, whoever's got a 119-pound strap, I'm coming for you.
Now, you were scheduled to be fighting in, was it New Mexico or Mexico?
New Mexico. I was supposed to be fighting tomorrow.
And can you explain to us how COVID affected the whole process of you being able to fight?
It wasn't fair, but that's life. basically what happened is that I never needed a passport because I never had to really go out of the country like that. And anywhere I did go out of the country, there was no need for it. So if you went to like the Virgin Islands or anybody that was a territory or Puerto Rico or anywhere that you go like that, Alaska or whatever, you don't really need a passport. Fortunately, this is the time that I needed one. So I filed for it. I found out about the fight, believe it or not, like in December. So I automatically went and applied for the passport. I also did what they call expedite. So I paid extra, a lot more extra money to get it done. And it's supposed to be 46 weeks or 48 weeks or whatever it is. Then all of a sudden what happened was they went for a while. So I thought everything was fine. And then all of a sudden I get this letter in the mail that says that they put it on hold. They froze my passport. So I'm sitting there going, I don't understand what happened. So then all of a sudden they have this piece of paper that lets you know what the stipulations are. And basically what happened was, see, I was adopted since like almost as a newborn. And I was naturalized, what they call naturalization, and a citizen of the United States since God knows how long. Now, what happened was that obviously throughout the years, your papers get destroyed and whatnot. So the original was destroyed because it's old. But what happened was during that time, throughout the years, I had a certified copy made of the actual naturalization paper. So it had all the numbers on it. It had all the certificate numbers. So it wasn't like, they couldn't figure out who I was. So anyways, make a long story short, according to the State Department, which is the passport people, they want the original document or they boot it. They won't take a copy. Well, no one told me that at the time. And all of a sudden I find out later. So now I'm sitting there going, well, how do I get this? So then they tell me that they don't deal with the USCIS. So I'm like, well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't deal with it? They don't talk with them. They're the State Department. They said that's for you to do, your legwork. So now all of a sudden I get this thing now. Now remember, this is like almost a month and a half into it, and I'm sitting there going, man, the passport's frozen now. So I already took care of everything. I already got the medicals were done. I'm in tip-top shape, running out of sparring partners. Coach is treating me great. We're traveling, spending money up and down. I have sponsors that are fronting me, allowing me to survive and train like a madman. And I'm getting all this stuff going. All of a sudden, I deal with the USCIS, and I find out that you have to file for this form, which is called the N565, which is the replacement of a naturalization paper. Little do I know, it's $555. So I'm thinking, oh, wait, that is not happening. I don't have that. I mean, so then I found out that, if you can prove that you don't have this money, and during the pandemic and so forth, there's another form that's called the I-912, which is the 9112. That's called the waiver fee, or the fee of waiver, or whatever it's called. So now here's the other thing, is that you can't file that online. You have to physically do the forms now. So now you sit there and you have to do the forms, and then you have to mail it to their so-called lockbox, which is in Arizona. Now, I need to remind us, this is COVID, and everything you're reading is online because you can't get a hold of anybody. So now I go and I pay for this thing, literally priority express mail, so it's supposed to be overnight. I mail the thing over, and they give you a tracking number. The thing took 15 days to arrive, and their excuse was it was in transit because of COVID. So now 15 days later, they say they so-called got it. That didn't tell them that they need it, or they approved it, or they even reviewed it. It just said they got it. So now I'm going through all this. So I call up the passport people, and because of the paper, they need this receipt number, which is called the notice of action, which means that they're approving, they reviewed, and that they have the document on file. They can take whatever they want to send it to, the actual copy, but with that receipt, the passport people will allow it to go, because that's stating that you are a citizen. So finally, ready for this one, after all this goes through, now me and the promoters, we're talking to each other at all times. We're making sure that on everything. We're not canceling the fight at all until the last minute, because I told them I have sponsors that will really send me out that night. I mean, it's not even a big deal. So all of a sudden, finally, just yesterday, and I sent you the proof. I showed everybody the proof on this, okay? I get the email with the receipt number. So I'm sitting there, oh my God, it comes now, which is yesterday. That's the day I'm supposed to be flying. So I was like, this is crazy. And it came like 3 o'clock. So I get on the phone. I'm waiting like an hour and a half with the passport people, and I can't get through to anybody. I mean, obviously, because they closed. So I'm sitting there thinking, calling. There's no way I can get a hold of the people. So that's not happening. So I was like, you know what? This is bad. So I told the promoter, I let him know it's not. And he told me that, you know what? It is what it is. I showed enough proof. I showed him my ticket. I showed everything that I had to do. It's beyond me. I can't control it. So what ended up happening was we talked, obviously the champ and I talked, even Flores. As a matter of fact, I just got done with him. and he posted himself, and I showed that to you too. I sent you the post that he posted today, that the fight's, it wasn't canceled, it's rescheduled, and it looks like it's going to be for next month. So everything's still going on and whatnot. He's a great guy. One thing about Eric Flores that I must say, he's a very well-mannered person. We spoke. Thank God they have Google Translate, because I'm not good in Spanish. And we were able to talk back and forth. And yeah, it looks like things are going to be rocking and rolling. He's holding my belt nicely and shining it for me. And nah, I'm just joking. I don't want to say that. But either or, this is definitely happening. And then after that, we're going to move on. But today, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you this here. I just went to the mail and I expressed the paperwork and everything to the passport people. So now they're going to have it guaranteed by Monday, because I paid extra for it. All right. And they're going to have it on Monday. Hopefully they go through it by Monday, Tuesday. And then from there, they can release my passport. And then it's whatever it takes to get here, probably a week or so or whatnot. And then from there, we're ready to go. We're going all over the place.
Nice. Tommy, how has this process affected, or has it changed basically the way you're going to be coaching him?
It hasn't really changed anything. You're just gonna, we're just gonna keep working, because Matt's already in shape. He's already on the way. And just to let you know, I think I must be training him hard. The fight's in Mexico City. So that's why that whole passport situation was hard. And I wasn't gonna go with him, because there is a team from New York that has a Mexican team that's going up there, but they're from New York. And he was representing the United States, but he was going with that team as well. So he wasn't going to go up there by himself. But now we're going to find out, when this fight gets rescheduled, how's it going to work out. But his condition, it's good. I have to kind of slow him down, because he's doing a lot of running. He's training every day. He's at weight. So it's not going to affect anything. We're going to meet tomorrow, and we're going to meet hopefully on Sunday again, and we're going to work out conditioning just to maintain, just keep what we've been doing. So he's good. You're still there? I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
How has the training changed before COVID and now during COVID for you?
For me training Matt, Matt always wears his mask, and when we're together, I wear my mask as well. But now, since I got all my vaccines, and I was positive with the COVID in the beginning stages, and I was quarantined for like 38 days, and I beat it, I still wear my mask. But in the gym, when we train together, there's hardly nobody around. If we do workouts outside, we try to keep our distance, but it hasn't changed anything. Just the sparring, I had to go in the ring and work out with Matt and see what he got, and he's good. He's good. He has a couple of sparring, but it's hard to get sparring because of the pandemic. But if you stay in shape and condition-wise, it's great. Matt's weapon is his legs. He has very strong legs. He just tapped me on the shin, and I felt it. And I told him, as a law enforcement, I said, "You come near me, I'm going to shoot you, because his legs are dangerous." But his hands are good. He fights good both ways. But he has that determination. And I know you're Spanish like me. He has that warrior, the guerrero. He's cojonudo. He's tough. And for a little guy, he's ready. And I see the fire in his eyes. So it's not affecting anything in the training for us.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Sorry, I could just totally picture everything happening. So it's too funny. Well, for me, it's funny. I wouldn't not even pretend to spar with you or even to hold pads or anything, because I'm good. I've seen your videos training. Yeah. I want to be walking.
You ever watch a horror movie and when you see somebody do something that's disgusting, you go, when he kicks the post, I'm like, Matt, stop. I feel it. But it's like nothing for him. He's been doing that for 7 years. So, like I said, this whole pandemic, he's been training. So, meanwhile, these fighters are not being active. He just caught up. So, I see it. If I know he wasn't ready, I would tell him, hey, Matt, you shouldn't do it. But he's just so hungry. He travels 2-3 hours to come see me. I do the same. And we train. We don't argue. I tell him, keep going. We do 2-3 hour sessions. We do cardio, everything. He doesn't even complain. The only thing is that his wife will say he's sleeping better now.
Sorry. Matt, how are you able to balance your personal life with your fight career?
Well, to be honest with you, Della, what it is that a lot of people that know me from a long time, the other fighters from the older days, basically, they all know that I was one of those guys that I had a family. I didn't train that often, and I would just take fights with some of the best, all the best fighters in the world. I mean, literally, no regardless of how much weight I gave, I just, I was just like the opponent. I was just one of those guys, and I would just go in. It was more like just a thing that I would do until I finally realized. I said, doing that's not going to be longevity for your brain. It's not a good thing. So, I finally said, it's time for me to do. My kids are a little older now. You know what I'm saying, and I'm to that point now where I can do me. And God gave me that blessing. I don't know if it's because I'm Asian and we have that gene, but it's a weird thing. Like, people at my age aren't really supposed to be kicking trees and kicking poles and breaking signs. So, it's obviously a blessing from God, and I'm just going to take it. And I mean, you're talking to Tommy, believe it or not. I don't know if you know our history, but as of like, he's my idol. So to work with him is just, that was the guy that I looked up to as a kid. When I was go home or when I saw my wife when we were dating, I was like, I'm going to be like Tommy one day. And she used to say, yeah, bullshit. But one day, hey, maybe I still got a chance at it. But I don't know. He's the guy, like I tell you, we were sparring the other day. And I mean, I don't know if I told you, I'm sure you saw some of the videos of it, but
Yes.
we were moving around, and let me tell you something, he can still bang. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and it hurts. That's the reason why I was sleeping good. It wasn't on purpose. I just needed the rest. But yeah, I mean, one thing about me and all the people know, all the fighters I've known, I've sparred with all some, even right now, the current champions and people, and even MMA champions, and they'll all tell you I don't bullshit. One thing about me, I'll tell you straight out. And I'm a very honest person, and they know that especially when it comes to fighting. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get in that ring, all the bullshit stops. You know what I'm saying? You can brag, you can joke, you can have an ego all you want, but when you step in that ring or in that cage and those doors shut or everybody's over and that bell rings, it's just you. You know what I'm saying? It's not even your opponent, it's you, because you can beat yourself. And I've learned a lot, and even just being with Tommy, it's more than the physical aspect of it. It's more of the mental. He talks to me and he knows deep down inside, what I'm thinking. If I'm doubting myself, I'm saying, he'll push me harder. You know what I'm saying? And he just, like, because you look up to him, it's kind of like it's inbred in you. You want to impress him, so you'll do that extra mile for him. You know what I'm saying? When you're tired and he's like, he's telling you to keep going, you don't even argue, because, you know what I'm saying, this guy could just pack up and walk away from you. Mm-hmm. And for him to notice you and to take his time out of what he's doing, I mean, this guy's successful. He's world champion multiple times. The guy's got enough accolades that he could just hang it on a wall and retire. You know what I'm saying? He's a successful person in society, as per, he's a lieutenant in the NYPD. So, I mean, this is a guy that doesn't need Matt Lyle at all. So for him to even take time out, that's like, it's so surreal, if you understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So if I give him any less than 200% of my time, 200% of everything that I have, then all I'm doing is I'm a fool. I'm basically playing myself, because this man could smile, laugh, and say, "Yo, Matt, it was nice knowing you. Good luck. Don't let the trees hit you." You know what I mean? And walk from me. You're laughing. Yeah. I'm like, what am I gonna do with this, Tom? You gotta help me out here.
The funny thing is, that with Matt, he calls me his Mr. Miyagi. I'm just helping him right now. After this fight, if he feels comfortable and he still wants you to be his trainer, then I'll be his trainer. But right now, we're just doing it slow. Matt has to. I know he's gonna do good, but we need to sit down and find out if he's gonna be serious. Right now, I just want to help him out, and I want to do it. It's coming out of my heart. And I love this kid because he followed me and he found me and he gave me the fire, to help him out. This pandemic, If it didn't hit, I would have been, because I'm also work for the ISK. I'm a judge. I'm a referee. So I still get involved. I never had a fighter. Matt is my first fighter that I helped out because I just retired. But those 10 years, I just helped people conditioning. But Matt, I'm really serious with him. But he has to decide after this fight, win or lose, if he wants to keep Mr. Miyagi like he calls me. But we're going to do it slowly.
I was going to ask you, how does it make you feel? How do you feel by knowing that he looks up to you and he respects you so much? And I mean, he's willing to drive all that to train with you. How does that make you feel? Because obviously, it must have an impact if he's your first person that you're willing to train.
It's a big impact because I have a son that is in Okinawa, Japan right now. He's a Marine. I haven't seen him in 2 years. He's my only son, and I have 4 girls. And I'm also a grandfather, and I haven't seen my grandson yet. So Matt coming in and me helping him out is like, I got him into like that sonship, but he has me distraction from what I used to do with my son. So when he says that he looks up to me, it means a lot to me. And I just felt bad because, like he said, he was an opponent. He fought anybody at any given time, and then he didn't have the right help. So I figured now he's still doing it, and I'm out. I want to guide him and give him what he needed that he didn't get before. That's what I'm here for. So it means a lot for him to say that he looks up to me, because I look up to him right now as well, because he still want to fight. He waited all this time. He's proving a lot of doubters out there that he still got it, and I believe in him. If I didn't believe in him, I wouldn't do it. So it means a lot that he says that he looks up to me, because he's helping me out as well, dealing with my emotions, not seeing my son in almost 2 years. And I'm still waiting. I got to wait till the end of this year to see him, because I can't travel to Japan and he can't come over. And he's there serving his country with a beautiful wife and baby that I haven't seen yet. So Matt's helping me out in the mind as well.
That's awesome. Well, we thank your son for being overseas and representing the country and what he does for us, because unfortunately not many people understand the sacrifice that he's putting out there, because they think, oh, you're a soldier, oh, you're this, but he signed basically his life away for us. So, thank you to your son. Thank you for what you do in your law enforcement field. We appreciate you, and we thank you for training Matt, because now the world gets to see who the real Lightning is. Matt, is there anything that you want to share with us before we conclude with the interview?
Well, you guys pretty much covered everything. Actually, some person, I don't know who they are, just sent me a text saying, "Oh, by the way, you're still suspended at the Foxwoods." So I guess I'm not lion fighting it. But you know what? That's that weird. I don't know. It's that Indian reservation, man. And I got that girl mad at me, so she put me on suspension for a year. So you know what? I'm gonna stay away from the Foxwoods. I guess I'll fight everywhere in the world, Japan, China, everywhere, everybody. Just we're gonna stay away from the Foxwoods. There's no Foxwoods for me. So that's it. I'm done. I will not set foot over there. I won't go to the Mohegan, whatever that thing is, or whatever those people are over there. I'm done. No Indian reservation for me. But besides that, now, honestly, on a serious note, though, you know what? One, I appreciate you. Number one, as also being a sponsor. I'm glad that everything you do. I also watch your stuff. So your content is very important. Actually, yours is very it's very deep. Actually, a lot of the stuff that you talk about. So my brains aren't that smart. So I kind of I guess I listen to it a little bit and then you lose me. But as a Tommy, you know what, Tom? Once again, it's an honor being on the other side. And obviously, I want to see you tomorrow in New York. But yeah, after this fight here, and I know Flores is watching, so Flores, I'm not gonna, all respect to you, brother. I know we both got family, and it's just, there's nothing personal. You know that. You and I we can have a Diet Coke afterwards, because it is what it is, and I respect you, and you're a champion. You're the champ. You have the belt. Just shine it. Make sure it fits me too. And but when it comes to you, Tommy, yes, I've already made my decision. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, as long as you're swinging and willing to hit me and yell at me, you're Mr. Miyagi to the end. So that's just the way it is. Daniel's son, Cobra Kai, because here we go.
He is funny. When we're in the gym, he doesn't crack any jokes. He doesn't crack. This is the first time I see him do this. We always just train. He's so focused, and he's like, yes, yes. And if I tell him, Matt, run it, he does it. So he doesn't. This is the first time I actually had to enjoy to watch him to eat because he was so worried about his diet, but he was on weight and he was great. That was the only smile I got out of him. But he's so focused. He doesn't crack any jokes. He's very, and I try to joke with him. He's just really serious. That's why I respect what he's doing. I'm behind him 100%. This is not the Matt that I saw years ago. This is a whole new person that's focused. And you got to jump on that wagon and help him out.
Nice. What would you like to share with everybody before we conclude?
And that's for me or for Matt?
For you.
Well, for everyone, just understand that I am a retired fighter. I'm trying to pass the torch to someone that needed help. I know there's a lot of people that are doubting on Matt's safety and concern, but I have checked as a person that does wellness checks. He is good in the mind and everything. I checked him out, and he's serious. If it doesn't go good, then we find out. We'll get back to the drawing board. But I want people out there that are doubting Matt to believe that he's really focused. And if you're not there to see it like I am, you shouldn't make any comments. Just give Matt a chance. He's out there doing. There's a lot of other fighters that done this before, and I'm gonna support him regardless if people don't agree or not. I'm happy that I'm with Matt, and he's helping me out a lot emotionally and mentally. So I want to thank you for having me on the show, and I want to thank Matt for getting me involved.
Thank you to both of you, Matt and Tommy. I really appreciate your time. I know you guys have been dealing with a lot of stressful, situations, but this will just get you to that goal that you are waiting to reach. And I hope that, our next interview is on fire. I really appreciate both of you. God bless you. And have a wonderful night.
You too. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow, Matt.
You got it, boss. Thank you.